Hey friends, this is Waylon. I'm in Canada right now, Halifax, and there's a power to traveling I always appreciate. It gets me out of my rut of daily life. So I wanted to touch on a few practices that I think are helpful, that when we travel, those practices become illuminated if we let them. And then also how we can be helpful when we travel. So number one is when I travel, I very suddenly go from being a bit discursive and just eating quickly and eating whatever I want whenever I want to being very choosy about where I eat because I'm traveling, because I want to enjoy the restaurant or the food or my favorite places or discover new things. And I want to make sure I have an appetite for it. So bringing that back home, there's an attitude of appreciation, less discursiveness around what I eat. I have a lifelong habit because when I was young, I could and needed to eat endlessly, of eating very quickly and eating a lot and not being present when I eat. Often I'll eat something so quickly and kind of enjoy it, but I'll be multitasking. I'm watching a basketball game or I'm talking, reading, that I'll eat a second portion just so that I can appreciate what I missed out on with the first. So I've talked about this before, but really slowing down. It's a little bit like a toddler. I was just watching a video on Instagram. A mother was letting their toddler actually appreciate a little bolt on a bridge. The kind of thing that seems pointless from an adult point of view. But we all remember being children and the magic of just being fully present with everything because we were figuring things out and appreciating everything. So that same quality with our food. I've written about at Kripalu, the yoga center in Western Mass in the US. They have the 6 mindful eating practices. So, it's relax, take a couple deep breaths, gratitude for who made it, gratitude for the food, gratitude for Mother Nature, the sun, the rain, everything. Gratitude for who prepared it, gratitude for your own health to be able to eat it. Appreciate, meaning you really look at the food, you get into it. You don't just swallow it without looking at it, which is frankly common for me ordinarily. Smell the food. We actually often don't bother to slow down to smell the food, and yet the smell of, say, something baking is one of our most powerful emotional kind of memories. Smell of coffee in the morning, whatever it is. Chewing, really enjoying the texture and taking our time, not just, often you'll see people kind of forcing stuff down so they can talk. And then pause at the end. So before going on to the next thing or the next meal or the next bite, you pause. So that's just a quick overview, but that's something I appreciate when I travel. Secondly, I'm wearing a sweater from a craftsperson. I went to a vintage shop and a local shop and a different local shop yesterday. Is supporting local. Not just a little, we all talk about supporting local, but when you travel, exclusively supporting local. Like, do not go to a chain. Why on earth would you travel from, say, Boulder, Colorado, where I live, where there's Starbucks, to go to Halifax, Nova Scotia, where my mom lives, to go to Starbucks? That's nuts. We're traveling to have a unique local experience. Obviously, the benefit here is we can be, in so doing, we are supporting the local economy more. As you probably know, local businesses keep dollars locally. They don't just send them off to the, generally white old male kind of billionaire types. And again, just for community and learning and delight and freshness, there's so much to local. I went to a local thrift shop. I went to a local craft and art and bookshop. I went to 2 local farmers markets, got these amazing vegan cinnamon rolls and the like. Amazing coffee and a For Here mug that they offered from a local potter. It's just delightful. And then really almost making that a vow. So we don't just sometimes do local when we travel, always. And by local, we're not just saying locally owned, we're saying someone who is invested in the local culture and the local craft, and they're not just selling whatever made in China. So then it's how we get around. So obviously air travel is really bad for our world, bad for our air, bad for our future. But right now, especially North America, we don't really have a very good option usually. Trains aren't invested in by the public. Biden is changing that in the US, which is fantastic. But until that changes more, planes are a reality. When we travel by plane, try to avoid supporting all the chains. Bring a bit of your own or just go without. I generally honestly go without. Then I'm nice and hungry when I get where I'm going. But most people aren't going to be like that. Obviously, drink plenty of water. But when I land, I bike exclusively. So that's not about being virtuous or whatever, although nothing's wrong with trying to be ethical. It's really just delightful. It's cold here in Halifax, it's snowing, all that. I just wear layers. I bike around, I get exercise, I actually see the town, I figure out where I'm going, how the town is laid out. This applies to Paris, wherever we travel, New York City, anywhere. So if you can't bike, hopefully walking. My mom loves to bus. Just try to find the most low impact, healthy, high exercise, walking involved form of exercise. My mom really avoids cabs for that reason. Also, it's more expensive if you want to go there. So what else? Maybe you'll have some comments or suggestions for mindful travel tips. Yeah, I think that's about it that's really inspiring me right now. Oh, the final one would be, don't let Instagram ruin your travel. And this applies to being home too. So my practice is, if I see something beautiful and I stop and I take a photo, the tendency, being speedy, which I am, is to just immediately leave after taking that photo. Instead, the way we work with speediness from a mindful point of view, we're all speedy often, or we're all out of it and slow, one of the extremes, is after I take that photo of the beautiful lion with the snow on it, the statue, instead of just taking off, I then look at it with the phone gone. I keep the phone as far off my person as I can, in a bag, in the little bicycle bag. And I look at the lion and I have a moment just appreciating it, like back in the 90s when everything wasn't chronicled for Zuckerberg. All right. Big love to everyone, and may it be of benefit. Love from my mom and Waylon to you.